I am here with Courtney Daniels, who is a filmmaker. You've written, directed, produced three films. What Other Couples Do, Bedroom Story, It's Not You, It's LA. You have a book published called Yes You Can, How to Make a Movie for Almost No Money. You have one of your screenplays published, and you have a podcast, Gen X at Midlife. So covers everything. And you have chosen the topic of developing a bias toward action. I may have paraphrased it in some way, but um,
No, that's it.
that's it. Okay. So I'm going to start the timer. Why did you choose this topic?
Because I'm particularly focused on it right now. It's always a struggle to me to take action toward dreams and goals, and but I'm really happiest when I'm doing that. Um, I became really depressed during the pandemic. I sat on my couch trying to solve climate change. I Spoiler alert, I did not. And so and I was concerned about family members. I was stressed about many things. And I basically got to where I took no action toward anything. I was completely paralyzed by fear. So at the same time, I read a book by Gabor Mate called When the Body Says No. It's basically about how a lot of times people with disease get disease and they think there's a link studies wise between not saying no to people and prioritizing your own well-being,
Oh,
constantly saying yes to others' demands on you,
yeah.
and disease. Anyway, whether you agree with that or not, whether you believe the studies, um, the book in the book he points out that stress, and I think he links it to depression, come from three conditions: uncertainty, lack of information, and lack of control.
Hmm.
And it hit me like a thunderbolt. Like when I read that, I was like, oh my God, that's what I've been experiencing. I'm worrying about the future. I don't have enough information to reassure me that the future is going to be okay. And I don't feel like I have any control over it. And so more and more, I just became paralyzed by despair. And so there came a point where I was like, oh my gosh, that the antidote to all of this is action. Because
Hmm.
basically, this paralysis led to complete inaction. And
Yeah.
so once I realized, I decided the solution was action. And so that's when I started walking again, getting out in the fresh air. That's when I started calling friends more to do things. That's when I engaged a therapist. I did journal speaking. I did all these things to get the flywheel going in the opposite direction. And but one interesting thing that was so impactful was that I woke up one morning. I had been wanting to write a book about independent filmmaking. I had not yet written my book. And I was like, this is a good time to do it because my imagination is not working. I'm so depressed that I cannot imagine anything else. I can't come up with storylines. So let me just write what I know, what I've experienced. I'm going to finally write that book about indie filmmaking. And
Hmm.
so one morning I woke up at 7:30 a.m. I started writing, and I did not stop basically except for meals till 7:30 p.m.
Oh, that's any writer knows that that's like when you've hit it.
It's a big day.
It comes once
Yeah,
every couple of years for me.
yeah. And so it was really exciting, and I immediately felt more hopeful, more happy, like I was immersed in something. I was absorbed in something. And so that was just really eye-opening. It's like, oh, I need to do things, of course, towards my dreams and goals.
So, I mean, you're very prolific. Was this all like a recent, this was all like post this realization for you?
I no, I mean, I made my first movie like in 2011. I shot it, and I've done a lot way before that revelation.
Yeah.
But I feel like you forget things and have to relearn them all the time. And I had gotten to a point where it felt like, why make another movie? Why write a book? Why do any of these things? And so for a few years, I was not as prolific. I was not as productive.
But I guess like like from my perspective, you seem like you have always been active because you have such a catalog. you've worked in so many mediums. You're very
Yeah.
outspoken. You're a good a lot of the work that you write on Substack is fantastic, and you're always like um, you practice what you preach. You are like uh, writing about
Doing the things.
doing the
Yeah,
things you're talking about, and also like supporting a lot of like films that are very non-D and writing about them that I think uh, we need to see more of.
that's great.
Um,
Yeah, but
but yeah,
I guess what I'm saying, it's still a constant struggle though. So what you're not seeing is just my constantly having to fight resistance to making art. Every day it's futile. Why bother? It doesn't pay.
right.
Not enough people see it. I go through I cycle through all those reasons why not all the time. And I just always come back to, okay, well, it sucks to not make anything. And it's not a win to not make anything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a loaded like well, um, so there was you said it was uncertainty, lack of control, and what was the third
Lack of
one?
information.
So
Lack of information.
how does how does being active solve these things?
When you take action, you win back some pride, some self-respect because you're doing something. It doesn't feel good to go days and days without exercising, without writing, without taking any steps toward what I care about. I feel bad about myself. I'm not happy. And so action makes me feel good. It makes me feel self-respect.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that happiness is absorption. It's absorption in something. When you're busy creating something and you're working on the problems of a script or a movie or whatever, it's like you're not thinking about it crowds out a lot of bad habits,
Yeah.
a lot of worrying, caring what other people think, worrying about whether this is going to make money, all these things. I was going to say stupid things. They're not stupid things, but all these things that are not helpful that you have no control over.
Well, yeah. I think information and control, I I can see that. Certainty is
Okay.
definitely one that I would struggle with. Um,
People want some certainty though. Like, well, if I'm going to make this movie, I want to know it's going to sell. Or if I'm going to make this movie, I want to make some money back or whatever, right? We have our things that we're like, I want reassurance. I want some guarantee that it'll be worth pushing this rock up the hill.
or even like internal assurance, like this is the
Yeah.
thing that am I actually doing the thing that I want to do? That's something that I've like, it took me a very long time to make a movie. Or arguably 20 years from when I wanted to start to when I actually did it, which you were one of the first people to see a rough cut, which is fantastic. You gave me great notes. But I relate to that because it took me so long because I was so uncertain that this was the right thing at the right time. Um, so I guess you've that's why when I look at, the span of your career, like you clearly figured out how to overcome that quicker than me at least. And I think quicker than a lot of people.
It's funny, it does not feel quick to me because I spent like 8 years writing screenplay after screenplay, hoping to sell a spec script. And on the one hand, it just tortures me that I burned all that time on that goal. I had my arms so tightly around that tree, I couldn't let go. Like it didn't even occur to me. It blew my mind when I realized, fuck Hollywood. I'll just make something. Why don't I go straight to go? Just start. Um, it wasn't like I had never thought of that. Believe me, I thought about that right away because we used to live in this apartment. When we first moved here, I was like, oh, wow, even in that apartment, I was writing a business plan to make movies. So I knew early on I wanted to direct, but I just couldn't see how I was going to get the money to do it. And at that time, video cameras were not as good as they are now, and they weren't as much of a go-to, you know? And also, to be completely honest, it's terrifying. And I just was like, well, surely I don't have to do this terrifying thing by myself. And
Yeah.
it's like, yes, you do.
And I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, arguably that's this whole movement, non-D movement is very much based on this philosophy. And yeah, you've kind of, I guess you're like sort of a trailblazer. You've been doing this already. What does it
Like all
feel?
indie filmmakers are to a degree, right? I mean, um,
Um, I think,
like
well,
Jim
maybe,
Jarmusch and Hal Hartley and Richard Linklater, right? He was turning on the camera and running in front of it to act.
yeah,
Right? And
I
and
like,
some guy who knew him said he saw that and he's like, this guy is unstoppable. Like he will not be stopped. Right. And it's like you have to get to that point, or you have to be that person early on, whatever it is.
you wrote something about Linklater that he would just be making films in today's ecosystem, and like if Stranger Than Paradise or Slacker came out today, would they have success? Um,
I know
not
it's a great question. It'd be so interesting to know.
and like
Yeah.
I think this connects to your topic, but it's sort of like the I guess the like kind of to play devil's advocate sort of thing is
Okay.
not even to play devil's advocate, but to just like at some point, do you have to think about making sure that people do have access or are able to see what you create? Or do you think that just the creation in and of itself, as long as you can find a way to sustain it and keep it going, is enough?
It will make you crazy if people are not seeing your film because you'll know because you get royalties. Like if you release it through Film Hub, if nothing else, if you don't get a distribution deal, which most people don't, I mean, not something like 98% of films do not.
Yeah.
So if you end up, or if you want to take it on a tour for 3 years of your life, great, more power to you. But if you don't do that and you put it straight on Film Hub, and they're reps from YouTube, Amazon Prime, Tubi, everyone decides whether or not to pick it up, you'll know if people are seeing it because you won't make royalties. See what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
You have a dashboard. You can log in every day if you want to, and you can see how much money your movies are making. And it will make you crazy and heartbroken that if your film is not being seen. And I mean, there's things you can try to do about it. You can try to run ads where you think they might get seen by your target audience. You can try to promote it as much as you can. You can try to take it on a tour of micro cinemas or art house movie theaters across the country. You
I,
know,
yeah. I do
there's
think
things you,
that might be the
there's,
future.
I mean, and that's a big part of the non-D mission, right? Is you can't just release a movie. You got to do all this stuff. You have to have a
Yeah.
plan. You have to maybe create some cool merch. You have to get people excited about it. You have to get your audience invested in it with a Kickstarter fund or whatever. There's all kinds of methods that people are trying, and that's why there's
Right.
all this distribution case study focus, right?
I think I don't want to like speak on your behalf, but I at least from what you write, I think you may be one of the few people who align with me on this philosophically. But I think it's not like I don't like that. I don't like the fact that filmmakers have to be entrepreneurs and have to like market and have to build their. I
Believe
really
me,
and
I
it
know
and I
it's
feel like
hell.
yeah, and like I
Yeah, because we're it. It's like getting TV writers to put on a dog and pony show when they're pitching a pilot. It's the wrong people to be doing that, right?
yeah
It's like the
yeah
the kind of person the kind of person who can make a movie is not necessarily the kind of person who can um, build a massive following of people who are foaming at the mouth to pay $20 for whatever offering they make. That not everyone is cut out for that. In fact, I would say most people are not. And even if they are, even if they're up for that and they try really hard, they may not accomplish that.
And to put it even further, like maybe YouTube, TikTok sort of content has shown us that it's actually quite the opposite. The people who are really good at cultivating large audiences
Yes.
are
Don't
not
make
the
quality
people
stuff.
who are good at making, art
Yeah,
films.
they're not making things I want to see. Yeah,
Right.
most of them. I mean, believe me, I'm constantly like, well, let me check this out, and it's god awful. So it's like, so yes, I agree. And I will be the first to say I'm out of step with today's youth. I don't get it. Put me on an ice floe, push me out to die a natural death, whatever. I don't care. But it's like, but yes, I agree. And so I keep coming back to the same thing, Avi, which is that my life is not improved by me not making another film. I'm really glad to have made the three I made. I want to make more. And so I saddle up to go the long way around the mountain again, you know. But there's some downtime in between projects where I have a bone to pick with God. I'm angry at the how difficult it is to get discovered. You know, you have to have your film discovered. I'm frustrated that film festivals are a microcosm of Hollywood and they want stars and high profile producers. All of those things. I'd be lying if I said, that's okay. I don't mind. I don't care. It's like, I care about all these things. They directly affect me.
Are you,
But,
yeah. No, go ahead.
but at the end of the day, I always come back to this, after weeks, months, whatever of gnashing my teeth, I come back to the same thing. Well, it's like, well, I can't control it, and I'm not about to become, the guy who did Queen Sabbath, that
Mhm.
filmmaker. He toured with the film. I think he has made $1 million or more dollars. I don't have it in me to go on some 3-year tour with my film. I just don't. I'm not
Yeah.
that person,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, I, I think this is really, I don't want to, I want to make sure we like get to the heart of the sort of bias toward action, but I guess arguably, the example that constantly comes up is Hundreds of Beavers, I
Oh,
think.
yes. Yeah,
Um,
Hundreds of Beavers. Yep.
and I
Very
guess
interesting
arguably
case.
that there is action that they took in creating a following and creating the social media campaign. I mean, they did have a
Clearly. Yeah,
60
they did
plus
something.
$1,000 marketing budget, which
Okay.
people seem to like ignore. And
Yeah, you
I,
got to spend money to make money, I think that way, right? Because you're either
yeah,
four walling in theaters to get your movie shown. I mean, you're doing things. You have a booking woman, like there's some woman who's great at booking films that people hire. That costs money, those things, right? Yeah.
so when you're saying developing a bias toward action, and I like, do you see that as part of that idea or philosophy, or are you really saying like for creatives to just keep at their work? And if so, are you optimistic about uh, maybe we're entering a time where creatives can stay creative as long as they keep working and find audiences?
Yeah. I feel like develop a bias toward action for actions you're willing to take.
Hmm.
So it might be great if I were willing to become more of a circus ringleader and try to draw the crowds. That would be great, but that's not an action. Those are not actions that I'm willing to show up for all the time. The
Yeah.
actions I'm willing to show up and do all the time are write, shoot, edit.
And
See
produce.
what I'm saying? So it's like I will do those actions, and those are hard enough for
Yeah.
me. Okay. Um, Showing up over and over again to promote and pull people toward me and gather an audience and get them fired up. That I don't have that to do. I can't. I don't have it in me to do that all the time repeatedly. I'm
Yeah.
not a big behind. I don't shoot lots of behind the scenes footage. I'm not documenting my journey. Come along with me, everybody, and watch what I'm doing. I wish I were that person. I am not. And so it's like,
Yeah.
so my bias toward action is the actions I'm willing to take that I can get behind. And my sister said something to me really smart once. She said, she goes, make so many movies that people can't help but stumble upon your movies. You know what I mean? So it's like, so that's sometimes a North Star for me. Like, okay, I actually don't want to make a ton of movies. I want to make good movies. Like I really care a lot more about quality. Like if you look at Mike Nichols, Linklater, whatever, they may make 15 films, they may have 20 films, but usually there are 3 that are fantastic. I'm content. I'm
Yeah.
I'm low energy enough to where I just want the three good ones, you know? And so it's like, so, but yes, I'll make more movies. And hopefully anyone who's looking for a romantic comedy or relationship movie, not a big Hollywood romantic comedy, but like a relationship movie, hopefully they'll stumble upon mine.
Yes, and I watched what other couples do,
Yeah,
I believe. Yeah, liked it very much.
great.
Uh, yeah, you're clearly doing something unique. You've been doing it for a while. Uh, I'm excited to see what you do next.
Thank
Uh,
you.
you've clearly like gotten very good at writing dialogue, which I think is one of your strong suits.
You you have to, Avi, if you're shooting in a room in a house. Like I
Yeah,
joke that my movies just are getting smaller and smaller. Like I'm going to shoot in my bathroom the next one, you know.
yeah, well, yeah, our 20 minutes is up, but
Okay.
to this is something I could just talk about and talk about. And I think it's because I really relate to you in this sense because we both made single location movies, dialogue heavy. Um, and it's nice to see that that you've done that and that you're still working on more. So
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see what you do next. And for anyone watching, check out Courtney's movies and her book, which I would like to read. So,
Thank you.
all right.
It's fun talking to you.
This was great. Thank you, Courtney.